Valparaiso International Center is very happy that you're here, braving the cold weather. Better than last year. I believe at this time we were out of power. I think our January was when literally we were out of power and we had spotlights on, and then 2/3 of the way through the presentation we got power back on, but everyone was used to it by then, so we don't have to brave that. But on behalf of the VIC, the Valparaiso International Center, I'm Dwayne Davison, so very happy that you guys are here. Fourth Friday event on Malawi tonight. So the old timers coming here know we've done over 60 different countries, and this one is in fact new for us. So we're happy about that. Anybody that is new to the VIC or got an invite verbally, please sign up on our email list on our table in the back here. That just puts you in the know about only VIC events, okay? Speaking of that, we are interested in expanding our board, so we're happy to accept some applications, if you like. Key volunteers would not have an application, but board members would. Please see me if either of those are of interest for you. The volunteers in particular would be useful for coming up the World Cultural Festival, which is in September. We're going to have our first planning meeting in March. Don't know the date just yet, but we will have that in March, and we welcome you to join us. So come on in. We've got seats right here for you in the front row or the second row. Yes, so I think that's it for kind of the business. Except for, as always, if you're interested in having someone that you know, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, represent a different country, also see me, because I might run out of ideas, and then we'll just have to do the U.S. or something else. So, Hey, wasn't it strange earlier this week? Everybody was talking about it. Something happened, a big, huge event. Anybody know what I'm thinking of? Yes, Florida has more snow than we do. All right, that's what everybody was thinking I was going to say, right? Florida. There is a Valparaiso in the panhandle of Florida, as you know. We had that come up about 2 years ago in a little pop quiz on how many Valparaisos there were around the United States. So anyway, on with the show. So Malawi is a country in southeastern Africa, and Kate Joyo has been at our festival for several years now, representing Kate's Kitchen. Lots of awesome African food. So if you've been to the festival, maybe you've tasted her food. Look at that setup over there. Kate's Kitchen operates out of South Bend, a little bit of a hike, but our board did go there this past Sunday, and we were graciously welcomed, and it was awesome. So looking forward to some food later on tonight. And also, as you know, we hope to have question and answers towards the end when we'll be eating and socializing. You'll get to sign autographs and take pictures with your admirers here. Yes, so Kate is from Malawi. She has several children, two of whom are with us tonight. We've got Cynthia, and we've got Leon. And then this young man is Kate's brother, Mahara. So he is going to do a lot of the presentation. Kate will be available, of course, during and certainly for question and answers and after. But Mahara is also going to be, the main tech person, so that's why he's up here. But Kate is going to be presenting as well, but she's going to be fixing a lot of stuff in the kitchen, so we're certainly looking forward to that. So, Mahara, Kate, you guys ready to go? Yes. All right, please welcome them to the stage.
I feel like a celebrity. Yeah, thank you. Like you heard, my name is Mahara. You know, African names usually have these big meanings, and so Mahara simply means wisdom. It's just wisdom. Yeah, I'm an African, but I'm also an Africanist. So they're two different things. Yeah, I'm an African definitely because of the heritage and the ancestral connection. I come from a Tumbuka Bantu tribe from the parts of Malawi, in the northern part of Malawi. Now I come with my sister Kate. You might be surprised. I'm younger than her. Yeah, I'm younger than her. So we are coming to just have a good chat with you. We want to talk, but and I have my little man Leon, who's my little nephew here. So he always tag along with me. That's my favorite human. Yeah. So we are going to have a chat about Malawi. But before we go into Malawi, I want us to have an icebreaker. I will call Kate a little bit later when she's ready to come after she's done with the food. Like we said, we come from a place where we grow up through inspiration, right? Beside being an African, definitely you can sense the accent. It's vintage. The accent is vintage here, but I'm also an Africanist. This does not mean that I'm an anthropologist, but I'm an ardent follower of Africa, and I want to invite you tonight to be followers of Africa, to study the culture and to see what Africa is made of. So tonight we are proud ambassadors of our own culture and people. But before we proceed, I want to break some ice. And I want to see some of you who have some knowledge of Africa. I have 4 questions. And we'll see who get it right. Yeah. We'll see those who get it right. The 4 questions. What is Africa?
Continent.
It's a continent. What is Africa? Somebody else?
South of the Mediterranean.
Yes, that's very good. What is Africa?
Oh, they're a mixture.
Yes, that's all the answers are correct, by the way. Yeah, but I'm looking for the last one. We want to give it a shot.
What is in Africa?
What is Africa? There are 4 questions that I'm going to ask you just to break the ice. What is Africa?
A culture.
A culture, yes.
Home to a lot of people and a lot of continents.
Yes, that's another good one. Where is Africa?
Right here.
Where is Africa?
It's everywhere.
On the equator.
A lot of people say, we hear so many things. As ambassadors, and part of our objective with the cultural exchange that we do, these talks that we keep on taking, is to also move on our educational goals. We want you to understand fully what Africa is all about. Obviously, we have heard so many good things about Africa, but we also have heard so many narratives that are negative about Africa. And so we take opportunities to share some experiences. I was raised in Africa. I grew up in Africa. So Africa, where is Africa? Somebody answered already. Who are Africans? I think I already hinted. Who are Africans?
We all are.
That's the answer that I was looking for. We are all Africans, and I'll explain along as we go along. And what is in Africa?
A lot of countries.
A lot of countries, a lot of people.
Tigers.
A lot of people, a lot of animals, a lot of wildlife, reserves.
Natural resources.
Yeah. So Africa, as you have heard, is a cradle of humanity. I think somebody said we are all Africans. There's so much research that has actually indicated that we all evolved from Africa. This is the Eden of mankind. This is the Genesis. Those who studies archaeology, that studied the fossils of big bones, and they'll tell you that we all at one time coming from African parents, all right? So we simply just evolved a long time. So Africa is the cradle of humanity. Africa is the second largest continent. Actually, there's a geographical insight that I want to share. On the global map, Africa looks very little, but Africa is in fact big that you can put the whole United States of America in there, plus China and Europe in there, and still have room. That's how big it is. It's second from Asia. But when you look it on, you look on the global map, it looks like very tiny. Yeah, Africa has 54 recognized countries. Here you call them states. Yeah, but these are countries with a vast, wide range of differences in culture, dialects. We are very different. You can move from the wall of people along the Sahel region, from Senegal, Mali, Ghana, and the Igbo people from Nigeria, and the Ashantis of Ghana, and you go to the Burundis, Rwanda, where you have the Tutsis, and you have the Hutus, and you have the Niletes, you have the Bantus of Malawi and the Congo. You see that we are way different, but we are one people. We are one people, 54 countries. They all have their own experiences. And part of what we do with our cultural exchange is to showcase everything. We bring in the experiences from different places, from Nigeria, from South Africa, whether it's the Chisanyama from South Africa or the Nyama Choma from Kenya, whether it's the Chigwada from Malawi. We all bring it over there so that you can have at least a little taste of what Africa is. And Africa has about 2,000 languages, okay? Very different. And about 3,000 different tribes. Yeah? It's a cradle of humanity. It's a magical place there. There are over 1.4 billion humans in that place. And we're still growing. We're still young and we're still evolving. Yeah, so that's a little bit much about Africa. I'll jump a little bit, but before I go there, I'll give you a little bit history. You see, tonight we're going to concentrate on this little dot here. It's called Malawi. We're just a very tiny thing. We are actually swallowed by big bodies. We have Mozambique and Tanzania on our north, and we have Zambia on our west. So I'll go back there, but before I go there, I just feel like it's important that we look at some of the, I'm lagging here. Yeah. We want to talk about some early civilization. Like I say, part of our objective is to also claim our place in whether it's in the groundbreaking discoveries in our civilization. We contributed a lot. Africans actually contributed a lot than what we are credited for. It's in Africa that you also have to remember that as far, we can go as back as we can go, like 859 before the Common Era. That's where they discovered the first university system with degrees. See, it was in Morocco, in a place called Fez. That's where the system of education that is structured to give people degrees started. And around 13th to 16th century, you saw a lot of learning centers popping up in the places of Africa, in Timbuktu, where there was so much education that concentrated on law, philosophy, astronomy, medicine, and mathematics. And science, actually. It was in Africa, and they also worked so much on economics. During the reign of Mansa Musa in Mali, there was so much trade. He's also credited for a governance system that concentrated on reconciliation and equal rights. So it was in Mali. Africa pioneered mathematics, engineering, and architecture. Most of you will be blown out to understand that the pyramids that we see in Egypt were actually a creation not by aliens like some would want to, but it was indigenous Africans that built those things. And up to now, it's a world wonder. You go there, mathematics date back into the 3rd dynasty of Kemet, which was Egypt. All right. There was a man called Imhotep. He's also called the father of medicine. He actually trained most of the people that we know. We have heard about Pythagoras, and we have heard about Socrates, we have heard about Plato. All these, if you dig deeper, they've been students of Imhotep, a man from Egypt. We developed one of the earliest writing systems called the hieroglyphics, we all know. So the system that we use of writing, actually came from the mother, contributed to medicine, like I say, astronomy and governance. Egyptians especially were great students, and they studied a lot of stars and activities in the about cosmology and everything. So that is just a little bit part of us, the system of governance that was developed in that part as well. Now, there have been some strides in Africa because definitely people are evolving, we are changing, we're shifting. So there was a great renaissance in Africa. You know, most of the part of Africa was colonized, right? So there was a time that the African people wanted to gain their independence. So there was a great renaissance that started in Africa, but it became so common. It was actually, it built on the ideals of few great people like Kwame Nkrumah from Ghana, and Julius Nyerere from Tanzania, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta from Kenya. These are the people that pioneered the Pan-African, what you hear about Pan-Africanism, so that African people can get their freedom to govern themselves, to override some barriers, and offset some challenges, and to get their own independence. But the concept of Pan-Africanism actually gained ground, especially in the 1990s. As you remember, in South Africa, they were fighting a system of apartheid. So in 1996, the former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, in his speech, "I am an African," he made this whole concept of Pan-African, Pan-Africanism very big. The concept definitely was about rebirth, renewal, and empowerment, addressing historical injustices, and overcoming challenges in Africa. So we have made some strides. I've put the pictures of those 3 gentlemen. This is the former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, and this is Mzee Julius Nyerere, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, and this is Kwame Nkrumah. He was from Ghana, Tanzania, and South Africa. They are the champions of Pan-Africanism. Now, as some of the significant strides, you will notice that now Africans, just like in America, they're trying to organize themselves, right? So they're trying to eliminate the man-made borders and try to open up for business, because the whole Africa was demarcated. It was split before between different factions. Others belonged to the Portuguese, to the British, to the Germans, and everything else. So we created these borders that never existed before. Can you try it? I tried it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I tried it. Yeah, so we have nations like Burundi and Kenya, South Sudan, Tunisia, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo that now have come as one pack. They have eliminated the visas and the need for passports for their citizens to get into their territory. So Africa is becoming a Pan-African group, just like in America, here in the United States. You know, we don't need visas to go to Massachusetts. Yeah, so that's what is going on. Now, I'll quickly go to why we are here. The warm heart of Africa. Malawi is called the warm heart of Africa. Like I said, Malawi, I think Dwayne said it already, it's in the southeastern hemisphere of Africa. It's a very tiny nation that is almost swallowed by big countries. We have Mozambique this side. This is Tanzania yellow, and this whole land here is Mozambique. And we have Zambia over here. Malawi is a very tiny place, but it's a very vibrant place. It's a very beautiful place. We are grouped in villages, so we have the aspect of extended families, right? So you heard about it takes a family. That's exactly what it takes a village. That's exactly what we experienced growing up. My sister Kate and I can give you a testimony that we grew up recognizing every elderly person like our own parents. We never saw any differences because that's how we were growing up as part of this fabric of an extended family. And so Malawians are warm-hearted people. If you visit Malawi, you're definitely gonna find everybody being of a courtesy, to be of assistance to somebody, to walk you through, to guide you through. I remember even on my own journey, I had gone back to Malawi, and after staying a lot in the USA, others thought I'm an American. So when I went there, I could see people how they come in because they thought I was a tourist. And they really want to be of a courtesy. Malawi has so many languages, but our official language is called Chichewa. It's a Bantu dialect spoken in the countries of Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and parts of Tanzania and Mozambique. Chichewa, it's the Chewa people migrated from the Congo region into the central regions of Malawi. So they are somewhere here in the middle. But they are the majority in our nation. So our official language is Chichewa and English, actually. You know, like we say, we are all Africans. We are all Africans. So English is another official language for Malawi because we were a former British protectorate. We were colonized by the British for some time. And so we are that great family. We have about 4 regions in Malawi called the North, the South, the East, and West. Now, in terms of demographic segmentations and analysis, we are 77% Christian in Malawi, and 13% Muslims. And we have the 10% indigenous, faith believers that mostly is practiced in the lower share in the southern parts of Malawi. But most of the people have kind of like evolved because of the cultural exchange, because of the coming in of the early missionaries in Malawi, because of the education system that came in Malawi. So we kind of embedded ourselves and moved. That's how I was found here. That's how me and my sister actually got here. I came here in a Bible school. I'm a theologian as well, as a musician as well. I'm an Afro jazz artist and world music artist from Malawi. I've toured the world quite a lot. So I came here to study Christianity, actually. I came to study Christian faith, and then I ended up studying 4 major religions of the world. So I studied Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and Buddhism as well. So I'm a man of many traits. Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier on, we are neighboring countries with Zambia, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Now, Zambia and Malawi and Zimbabwe used to be one nation, a federation called the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland, until Malawians wanted to get their independence. We were actually the first to get out of the colonial system. just showing some of the beautiful things. One of the most amazing things is how rich this country is endowed with so much resource. Our lake itself, it's amazing. Lining the beaches of this tropical clean water lake are the golden suns that reflect, especially when the sun is setting down. It's very different, very unique, very peculiar, very uncrowded, so it's very safe to travel there. If you want to just go for a wonderful time, Malawi is one of your destinations. I think I just put some of those that you can see. Some of the, it's almost like a paradise on earth, to be honest. It's part of the Lake Malawi, and this is the highest peak in Malawi called the Mulanje Mountain. It's also one of the most wonderful places to visit when you decide to go to Malawi. These are some of the national parks that we have in Malawi. So many things, nature is just everywhere. It's really like a beautiful getaway there. This is the Lengwe National Park and the Liwonde National Park for Malawi. They are all in the southern region of Malawi. This is the modern day Malawi now. We are developing just like anywhere else. So this is the city of Blantyre. It's a business city. It's called the business capital of Malawi. Our capital city is Lilongwe, is in the center, but this is our business city, is in the south. And in the northern region, we have a small city called Mzuzu. Facts about Malawi, like I explained, it is one of the cleanest lakes. Also designated as World Heritage Eco System Site by UNESCO. They have so many unique fish that you cannot get anywhere in the world. The rolling hills and the mountains, the majestic hills that we have, the national parks and wildlife reserves in Malawi. The history, a little bit of the people, it's always good to know. Like I said already, I'm not an anthropologist. I'm just freestyling here, just to give you, because I grew up in that place. So I am an ardent follower of African culture. My music is actually inspired by two things: my faith belief system and Africanism. So I write mostly about Africa and I write about God. So those are the two things that so Malawi is a democratic republic now. But for so long after independence, we are a one-party system. How many people understand about the one-party system? Meaning we were under the autocratic rule, dictatorship, and I wish no one here gets to experience what dictatorship is all about. Now, we developed under the dictatorship, but it is not a good system at all. Until around 1992, we had the people rising up to demand the freedom and the rights from our founding father. We love him dearly. We still honor him, Hastings Banda. Most of the things and the structures you see in Malawi were actually single-handedly developed by one man because he controlled everything. So on July 6, 1964, we had our independence from the British. And then in 1994, we had what we call our second republic, because now we moved from single party system, from autocratic rule into multi-party system of democracy, which sometimes in Africa doesn't work well, but it is working. It is working. And our first president, his name was Dr. Hastings Banda, still regarded as our hero. We still love him, regardless of the differences that a lot of people, there were so many atrocities at the time. I've come with my father-in-law, that's Kate's father-in-law. He was actually a member of Congress during Hastings, after our first multi-party system, after we gained our first republic, the second republic. Yeah. Notable influential figures, definitely Hastings Banda is a founding father. Wherever you go in Malawi, people respect, they love this man. Regardless of everything, we still love the man. And Chakufa Chihana, obviously, because he's the one who changed the system, who came to challenge Dr. Banda that we move toward multi-party system and more enlightened a little bit. During one-party system, we only had one radio station, no TV. So it was like a little North Korea there. Yeah, so when Chakufa Chihana came, Chakufa Chihana comes from the north. It comes from my region, actually. It was a trade unionist that came to challenge the system, the status quo. And then we evolved into a multi-party system. There's Chief Kachindamoto. This woman is very unique in our society because she's one of the paramount traditional leaders, but she challenged what was happening in Malawi, the early childhood marriages. Yeah, she fought that and won that until it's now gazetted as a law in Malawi. We have a legal age limit for marriages, and she's accredited for that. And then we have Joyce Banda, the first female president, who took over from Dr. Bingu Wamtarika, a vibrant woman. She's a champion for women's rights as well. And she also fought for mortality rates, to go down, childbirth. Yeah, so those are some of the notable people that we hold dearly in our system.
Is she a relative of Dr. Hastings?
No, they're not actually, really. Yeah. I'm trying to get my guy here at work. Just bear with me a little bit. Okay. Thank you. Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you. I'm still an African.
I was going to interrupt.
Our Mac professional here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the young lady we were talking to the other time. No, that's another one.
All right, this is the youngest guest in the room, okay? That's what it takes for technology. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we're close.
No, so that's good. So before we go to the cultural exchange initiative, that's why we are here. I want to just talk about what Malawi does. Malawi is a very strong exporter of certain things, especially food. We export a lot of coffee, tea, and corn. We also export like rubber and other things. So we are here, part of the diaspora community, to also, be the conduits, right, of what our people are producing, and we want to cement that bridge between the diaspora community and the world at large with the motherland. And so, apart from just creating the economic opportunities, the Kate's Kitchen, which my sister now owns in South Bend, Indiana, an amazing place. Brother Dwayne was there just last week, and Rocky was there. So we bring in these authentic African cuisine experience in one room. So we bring the experience of the Igbo people of Nigeria. We bring in the experience and the inspirations of the Wolof people of Mali and Senegal. We bring the experiences of those that are in the Central and Southern Africa. The Kikuyus of Kenya, we do the Nyama Choma, and then we bring them here so that you could appreciate. You know, one thing that fascinates me about Africa is how much Africans delve so much into these cooking techniques, right? The food is so rich, the food is healing. If you come to Kate's Kitchen, you will bear testimony. We don't joke. When it comes to cooking, it's magical. It's from mama's hands, right? And then, like again, I said, I'll repeat this. Part of what we do, we want to present our culture in a very nuanced way, in a very beautiful way. So we have engineered most of our tests actually to fit in into what is acceptable, right? And to just show us what is very authentic from Africa. So if you come to Kate's Kitchen, we have the egusi soup. How many understand about the egusi soup? Oh, okay, I know. Yeah, so egusi soup is this thick soup from Nigeria, from the eastern parts of Nigeria. They created this soup from a melon seed. And they crush it with spices and herbs, and then they add different proteins in it to make a thick soup, and it's served with this pounded yam. It's called the fufu. You heard about the fufu. This is just, this is amazing. And then we also do these oxtails. A lot of people in America think oxtail is a Jamaican treat, but it's actually a Central African treat. So we do it better. You come and experience Africa from Kate's Kitchen. So, like I said, the owner is right here. Basically, our inspiration when we were growing up, it came from our family matriarch, our mother. She made sure that whether you're a boy or you're a girl in the house, you learn how to cook. So from a young age, we were learning those family secrets, and then we cooked. We were taught. My father was a proud man. We had some aides in the house, but my father particularly said, I want to eat what my children can cook. So we learned how to cook and to serve our parents. There are some traditional cooking techniques that Kate maybe can share with you that she puts in there. But again, the main objective and the goal is to promote African culinary arts and hospitality. When you come there, you are going to be melting in that hospitality. Yeah, that one we challenge. The hospitality is real Africa, so you have to melt in that hospitality. Yeah, and we also want to focus, much as we know we're living in the America that is very diverse and with different cultures. Sometimes we have been apart. So we want to also foster the tolerance as the biggest virtue for humanity among different people, so we can become one. We are beautiful when we are one. Some of the few pictures we launched the Kate's Kitchen last year, January 26th, and we had the privilege that the mayor of South Bend, James Miller, came to open for us, and we've been growing, we've been booming. Obviously, I'm the manager there, very proud manager, very proud brother as well. And I also said already that I do music on the side as well, full time actually. And I'm an African culture advocate. I'm an Africanist, not just only an African. And I also talk about African spirituality on the side. Thank you. So at this juncture, I want to open it up to those of us that have questions and answers. Kate and I will take questions. Yes, sir?
So I will hand you the mic when you're ready here, okay?
How widespread is cell phone usage in the country? And if it is widespread, what kind of a change is it making in the country?
Cell phone, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so Malawi is actually very advanced. The network of cell phones is almost everywhere, let's just be honest. My father lives right in the rural place, in the village actually, in the tribal place, but he still has his, mobile phone with him. It is changing because we have now telemedicine in Malawi. So things are happening. The landscape has broadened. Most of the things like, money, just like, we are here. We transact mostly banking, mobile banking. We do payment systems on the phones because now there's an advanced network of mobile phones and cell tel. Yes.
Could you put the
Hold on,
last
hold on. For the presentation, which will be on video hopefully by Sunday, and for the audience, go ahead and use the mic. Thanks.
Can you just put the last slide up that had the address of the restaurant?
Okay, there we go.
Is it in?
No, that's not that. Yeah, that's, I
No,
think,
you had it before.
not,
That's there.
yeah.
But that's not the address.
This is the corporate office, but I can send out the address. This is if you want to contact us.
Oh, okay, that's not the restaurant. All right, also, my business cards right over there, where there is an address and everything.
Thank you.
And there's also a QR code where you can scan the menu and everything.
Oh, thank
Yes.
you.
See, Africa is advancing.
Africa, you say, is advancing from a point very early on in time that you say was very advanced. When you
Yes.
mentioned Kemet and Imhotep
Yes.
and the South Sudan and the North Sudan with respect to where they were. But one of the things that I'm always compelled to ask an African is their perception of the African American, the Negro, in America as it relates to not quite the same experience, but certainly there does seem to be a distinction or some type of, there's we look that way differently and you guys look that way, maybe perhaps differently, but there in the African American, there seems to be a longing for some connection that is elusive. It's not forthcoming as it relates to, like the European who might be from Spain or from Ireland or, England. There's that connection, if you will. And I was curious as to whether or not you have any opinions or reflections on your viewpoint of the American Negro or African.
So most of us view African Americans to be part of the broader diaspora African community. For example, I was about to talk about an initiative that Kate and I are running in the city of Elkhart with a Tucson Center for Community Excellence, which is specifically targeting the African American community. We do the Test of Africa. One of the things that we are trying to do, if you notice with the social media, with TikTok especially, there's been a revolution amongst the African Americans. They want to test what is, like you said, there's a longing to connect with the motherland, and then it's incumbent to us to stand in the gap and break some of the stereotypes and make sure that we are presenting Africa to our African Americans in such a very acceptable way. There are also initiatives right now that most African countries, like Ghana, is actually giving out land for those who want to return to Africa, to the motherland.
Maybe you came from that area.
Yeah, because most of African Americans came from West Africa. Yes.
Can you tell us what instrument you play, where you perform? You said you're a full-time musician.
Yes.
Can we come and hear you? Are the recordings available?
Yes, I am an Afro jazz artist and an ethnomusicologist. Okay, so I play guitars, but I created my own arpeggio guitar that is very unique. So like I say, I play the guitars and I sing, and I have a band in South Bend, Indiana. So we do quite some of these corporate gigs and some of the big festivals, like in South Bend, like the Fusion Fest and the Upbeats and all those things. We are also always a feature at the Test of Africa. I'm the headliner. Actually, I headlined at one of the Kamala Harris event that was the last in South Bend, doing as a solo act. So so you can get my materials online. Yeah.
I see a lot of people in disbelief. You'll have to prove your singing prowess.
No, I'll put a video, or I can play it. So
AI is very prevalent, and I don't trust it.
I can play it, but trust me, Dwayne said that there is another cultural event coming, and I'll have to use my African negotiating skills to pitch it. Africans are known for, bargaining, right?
So Kate, he declined. It's up to you.
As a matter of fact, Kate and I come from what is called royalty in Malawian music. We come from the top group that maybe was produced as a family group in Malawi. So we are in the books of Malawian arts and music as the founders and pioneers of a certain genre of music from the northern region, and especially in the Christian circles.
So before we take another question, could you have a conversation in Chichewa?
In Chichewa, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can talk 3 languages right here. We can talk Chitumbuka, which is our native language. That's what my father-in-law will understand. But we can talk Chichewa as well. Yeah, what do we know? Yeah,
Yes, tabwera kuzapendera ndikunoko ku Valparaiso.
Valparaiso mufuna maphunzisa nzathuwa.
Ufuna taphunzise adweni, ayu, zimene tikupanga ku Malawi.
Yes. That's good.
Did you say Dwayne and Hugh are your favorite people in the Vale of Paradise? Is that what you said?
Close to that. Yeah.
Okay, that was the native language.
That's
Let's just
Chichewa.
hear one other different one.
Yeah, Chichewa. Tumbuka is very different. It's also different. My mother tongue is Tumbuka, so it's very dense and very different. Most of the Tumbukas will not maybe hear the Chewas when they speak, or vice versa. That's how Africa is. If you're coming from West Africa, definitely you're going to be lost in East Africa, because just like you will not hear them there, that's how it is also. Yeah.
Yes, let's hear the second language then, or the third.
Monira
Yeah, omululi
tiripo mululi.
tili makola.
Mweza kuzakadumba nao vantu.
Iyi nyatiza kuno kuti tizakadumbe nawo.
Mweniza kuzakatembea kwa Valparaiso.
Iyi nyatiza solmoza na mdala.
Mweza na mdala.
Inya.
Mundu mulala.
Inya.
Yewe.
Okay, you're hungry, let's eat.
Okay. There was a hand over here. Oh,
Yeah, so we got.
So which is stronger, your sense of tribal identity or your national identity? And if it's the tribal, do those tribal identities cross political borders in some way, or how does that all work out?
I think what is stronger is my African identity to be, because Africans, like I say, we are one people mostly. When you look deep into the Bantu dialect, the languages is spoken across Africa. From the Zulus of South Africa the Nguni tribes and the Shonas of Zimbabwe, and the Chewa and the Tumbas. We are all regarded as Bantus. To Kenya, the Kikuyus are also called the Bantus. The Swahili is part of the Bantu dialect. So we are just one people. When I look at the people from West Africa, even though we are far from West Africa, everything that they cook, everything that they like is just like one people. So my African identity obviously comes first because I'm a Pan-Africanist as well. So I don't want to just isolate a little country over here, but we want to look Africa as a whole, develop and come together. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm concerned about the health care in Malawi.
Yeah.
What kind of health care do you have?
So we have what we call socialized medicine and healthcare, almost like Obamacare type without the insurance aspect of it. When you're sick, you are just required to go to the hospital. The government takes care of its people. But like again, we say Malawi is second, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the poorest nations list. So we are right on the bottom. So even for you to get medication in the hospitals, it's difficult. Even though there are all those provisions, but we have mothers giving birth without any medicines and all those kind of things. It's terrible, I'll be honest. When it comes to health care, it's very sad state in Malawi when it comes to poverty, because you have to understand 82% to 90% of Malawian population is on subsistence economy. So they are waking up every morning just to hustle. They don't know what they're gonna feed the children that day. So it is exactly a very poor nation. You can smell poverty. When you land in Malawi, one of the things that you can almost depict, you're descending down, you know that this is a very poor nation, but with people with big hearts and people that are very loving. You would not even notice that people are going through this because of the attitude of the people, the kids that will come around you, but it is struggle there. Yes.
You mentioned healthcare. Two things come to mind. It's ironic that your restaurant is literally in a former hospital.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
they use the kitchen of a hospital, so that's interesting. And then we have an entertainer, you might have heard Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna, yeah.
And so I remember hearing about Malawi maybe in the 90s when she adopted children, and healthcare there became an issue because people were questioning it.
Yes.
But
It is the issue of healthcare and public health is we still struggle sometimes with cholera. We're still struggling with these, epidemics, that are coming out. It's not an easy place when it comes. We still have malaria as the biggest killer. The HIV/AIDS also is a big issue there. So we are still struggling. And then the biggest problem is what she just mentioned. There's no middle class in Malawi, so the gap between the rich and the poor is just huge. You can't reconcile it.
I had a question about the influence of China in Africa.
Yes.
And also how your people in Mozambique and other areas of Africa really view America at the moment.
It's quite a very tricky thing. What is very obvious is China has taken over Africa.
Yeah.
That is very, very clear because they're doing, if you go in parts of Africa now, you have infrastructure like you're in Chicago. Chinese are building, they're coming, but definitely they are also.
But the people are for that. I mean, the people.
That's where the question is. The people are not necessarily for that because we are also seeing. Because they.
Desperate.
Yeah, but people are desperate because I think what has happened with the Western aid comes with a lot of conditions, And some of the things go into the anthropology, the way of life of people. Some of the demands are not normal norms within the African context. So it becomes a little bit difficult, more complicated. We appreciate the Western aid because, for example, in Malawi, 40% of the budget support comes from Britain. So we do appreciate the support that comes from the Western. We were actually worried yesterday when our president here, Mr. Trump, said he's removing the aid from WHO because that directly affects poor nations like Malawi. Now that's problems. People will have no HIV drugs.
So they built a lot in the country already.
Oh yeah,
China.
China is building like all these huge stadiums, these big hotel, 5-star hotels, infrastructures, these highways. You'll be like you're in a little Chicago.
Do they have tourists from China?
Tourists?
Anybody from China coming to visit?
No, Chinese are not only trying to visit, Chinese are trying to repopulate.
Yeah.
They're trying to take, because what they do, the difference is when they come, they bring their labor. They don't use the local labor. They bring everything. They bring the materials. They will not encourage you to do industrialization. So they want you to produce raw materials, and then they produce everything. So it still keeps us on the edge, but that's the only option that most Africans. If you go to Zambia, especially, they've taken almost everything from the government, from Zambian people.
I have two questions. One is, has there been a definitive number of African Americans from the United States emigrating to Africa? And secondly, because Malawi is in the middle of these larger countries, have the other countries tried to absorb Malawi at any time?
I didn't hear the last part.
Have any of the larger countries around Malawi tried to absorb Malawi into their country?
No, we are a very strong sovereign state. We are very proud people as Malawians. I think all what Africans are looking for is that Pan-African aspect where we become like one body. But you say there have we noticed like the repatriation of African Americans to Africa? To Ghana, yes, there's a very significant number because Ghana has actually a program, an initiative that they're issuing citizenship to African Americans who want to return back to Ghana. I think Zimbabwe also started a project similar to that, that people could repatriate to. But most of the people that we've noticed are Jamaicans. I know many Jamaicans that have made their way to Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about the tourism.
Yes.
Where would you, like that picture of that sunset, how would you go about seeing something like that?
Yeah, so that's exactly what we say. This is exactly what excites me about Malawi, because Malawi, like again, is a virgin. Nobody has tapped that yet, okay? So a lot of people do not know about this. Like we say, one of the things that we try to communicate is an extensive landscape of internet, so you shouldn't be worried. Almost every district has a functional airport that you can move from one place to the other place. Yes, we still have some developmental issues, some roads here and there, we're still struggling with infrastructure. But it's feasible, you're still going to be able to go there. There's services that are at hand, and tour guides. And, oh, yeah, one of the biggest things that we are embarking on with Kate is she's going to be now providing that service for those who want to travel from the USA to go back to Malawi or to South Africa, where we'll be offering those services, and so we'll have tour guides and support.
So I'm curious as to whether you've already told us or not. How did your families come here? and why, and how long ago?
Okay. So I personally have been here almost close to 3 decades. So pretty much I am a Native American now. I'm what they call the African diaspora, living here. She came I think a year after.
You got here in 1999?
Yeah, 1999.
He got here in 1999 and I followed 2000.
Yeah.
And because of school, that's why we ended up being here.
Yeah.
Then because of our kids, we thought this is a beautiful place to raise our children where they can go to beautiful schools and accomplish. Yeah, so that's why. So now it's home.
You chose to come to northern Indiana to study Christianity versus anywhere in the world. How did that happen?
Yeah, like I said, it's networking, right? It's who you know at the time. You're desperate, you're in Africa, you want to access better education. And we happen to have people who were already here that referred us to schools. And then, so you'll notice like South Bend has a huge Malawian community. Yeah, it has a big Malawian community. Yeah, because most of them came to Andrews University and, IU, and there was a Christian university that I came to first time called Indiana Christian University that was operated by Dr. Lester Sandro with the Lesia Network. Yeah, so that's why we were all here. We can.
And then with your studies of Christianity, do you find that your own faith has changed after coming to the US and seeing Christianity in a new country, in a new way?
Of course, issues of faith are tridimensional in nature. There is a volition aspect to it, and then there's a conviction and the demonstrable power, obviously. So you tend to evolve through stages and steps with your faith. Now, what has changed? I don't think my core belief, because it's an issue of epistemology, if you understand. Which is hinged on one true belief system through the scripture. But then there are certain things that, like the awakening, the consciousness, the African consciousness, trying to find myself and identify myself with my creator, or my God. Those are the things that are coming up right now. So it might sound a little bit unconventional, especially with my music. It's very unconventional because I try to connect Africa to my faith, which sometimes is very hard to do, but we have a lot of evidence in the Bible. Yeah, you understand? So we talk of Africa from Eden, from Genesis to where we are. Yeah.
I had a question. I think the lady kind of answered it. I was just going to say, hey, how come Malawi is still a country? You guys got a long border, and are you all warm-hearted and turn people away with your smiles? I mean, all these invaders.
It's part of our nature, part of our fabric as Malawians. We are actually known across Africa as the warm heart of Africa. That's our title. It's not like what we just created here, but Malawi is known to be the warm heart of Africa. Now, you were talking, I think Dwayne was also talking about tourism. Dwayne was somebody, I think the gentleman right here. You were talking about tourism. The aspects about Malawi are very unique because if you notice, Malawi is the only nation that has not been, I think Malawi and Zambia will not be involved in some war, terror attacks. We have very safe place, it's a safe zone. So even for those that want to visit Africa, Tanzania and Kenya used to suffer from terror attacks, and Mozambique had a long war, and Zimbabwe had their political turmoil, which is even right now affecting Zimbabwe right now. And we are the only ones that really say we're fresh. A lot of people have not just discovered us yet. So we're putting initiatives that we can bring people, because Malawi depended mostly on tobacco, and then with the anti-tobacco lobby and all those things, we struggle. So we are also looking for other avenues, and tourism is one aspect because we have things that the world has not seen yet.
You talked about how nice and welcoming and friendly you are, but I heard you twice during the presentation reference the evil people of Nigeria. Can you explain this?
No, Nigerians, actually, no, it's data-driven. Nigerians are the smartest people. It's there, it's on record, scientifically done. The evil people of Nigeria, yeah, the evil people are the smartest people.
Spell that, please.
IGBO. So evil people from East Africa. They are the smartest people. So we respect them.
In Africa or the world?
The world. Go get up. Yeah, go get up. It's a study that came out. They are the smartest. You combine all the races. So, again, that's the eating of the cradle of mankind.
I have a friend leaving tomorrow for Monrovia, Liberia, and he says it's going to take him 30 hours to get there. From out the door, driving to O'Hare, and by the time he lands in Monrovia, it's going to be 30 hours. How long does it take to get to Malawi?
About 18 to 22.
Wow.
It's a direct flight?
Yeah, we have a direct flight, mostly from maybe, it's more than that, but with layaways. But I used to take a flight from Atlanta, Georgia to Johannesburg, which was 14 hours non-stop. And then you add like about 3 hours to Malawi. So that's almost like 17 to 18 hours.
Plus the 8 hours to get to O'Hare.
Yes.
I was there last month, and it took me about 29 hours. With the layovers and everything.
Yeah, Kate, you were in Malawi last month, and we talked right before that, and then I understand you posted several videos, and I saw one or two of them. Can you explain about your experience just last month, how things were?
Okay, so when I went back home, it was after 24 years. Yes. So it was a bittersweet trip because things have really changed. What I was expecting is not what I had, but the love was too much. So it was, sometimes you'll be crying, sometimes you're happy, but overall it was so beautiful over there. I had to go and see my dad, who is 94 years old. So to me, it was a blessing that I was able to go and see my dad and bring some more authentic spices. Yes, and I'll be going again. So it has really made me to realize that there are better things in Africa that I was missing. So I'll be making that trip pretty soon. That's why I said we're having this tourism thing, because right now I've got a lineup of people that want to go with me so that I can just show them the places and everything. Yes.
Yes. Yes, sir.
How large is your military?
Our military in Malawi is quite small, okay, and our resourced as well. We had an incident that happened just recently. We had the cyclone that ravaged the southern parts of Malawi. It was almost apocalyptic level, nothing that people have seen. And these are people that are already having no resources. What was very heartbreaking was to see that our government could not even manage to have a chopper. See, there was no functional choppers there to go to the people. People were actually dying because there was no first responders to go and do that. So our military capability, yes, we train our young men to do what they can, but there's much that they can do because we are under-resourced and we don't have the capability to but apart from the pride that we have as a people, we believe, we strongly believe. And so those are the things, and the story goes on and on. Corruption in Africa is high.
Yeah.
So there's misalignment of priorities as well with our government leaders.
What about the police?
So most of the times when we want to do help in Africa, we try to work with special purpose vehicles that are independent from government bureaucracy, and so that we can get the help to where it's needed. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the education there and what could we do to help? And if we helped, how could we make sure that the funds are directly going to where the support is needed?
That excites me actually, because Kate and I, we are trying to introduce the first STEM school in Malawi. Part of our goal is to establish, we have the land, but we are actually looking for, donors and help that we can. We want to bring in the same quality of education to our people. So we are looking for educators, definitely, those that can help us with understanding of how this thing can be facilitated. We have a lot of people that are well educated in Malawi. Actually, Malawi, until 1994, was one of the places that was boasting of a high education standard in Africa. But until the multi-party democracy came in, things kind of like changed, the standards went down. But we had a strong man before, so he put emphasis on education. And so it's a bittersweet. But we are looking forward for every help. It's an initiative that we are working on. For more information, you can still contact me or contact Kate. And we have talked to some few people here as well to help us with that.
Yeah, I had a question about covering the political and the army. Right now there's a political civil war thing going on in Mozambique, which is pretty close. Not joining, and I'm wondering how that's going to affect your drive for tourism, people feeling comfortable in an established state, and there's a lot of these little civil wars going around all over Africa. I mean, there's at least 6 or 7 like that going on, and that's problematic, I'm thinking, for trying to develop tourism and trying to develop a more democratic society.
Yes, so in Mozambique, what is happening now is not a civil war, actually it's civil unrest. People are just reacting to everything, the political thing that happened, the elections and all those things. Now, has it affected Malawi? Absolutely, because Malawi depends on that corridor from Beira, because Malawi is a landlocked country. So we depend on the port in Beira, which is in Mozambique, and also we do a lot of cross-country trade between Malawi, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. So most of our products travel from South Africa using the Mozambique route. So that was the cheapest alternative. So that has affected business. It has affected livelihoods in Malawi.
We'll have a couple more questions, and make sure you raise your hand and I'll get to you. But I'm wanting Kate, before we answer another question, to explain more about your food, specifically what we're going to be treated to coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, thank you so much, Dwayne. So tonight, it's just one of those things from Kate's Kitchen. Food made with love. I brought in some samosas, and I do have jasmine rice, and there's also chicken, greens, beans, and I was thinking of the weather, there's also those who need to maybe grab a cup of tea masala. It's there for you just to know what Kate's Kitchen is all about. And this is this is my passion. I love cooking. So I can't help it because Dwayne said, just make this platter, but I'm like, no, I need to.
I love eating. We're a good team.
Yeah, so there is also a little bit of egusi and pounded yam because I was trying just to get something from the entire Africa where people can just try a little bit of everything. But when you come to South Bend, definitely you'll have a blast. And we are also having a taste of Malawi coming on April 1st at Kate's Kitchen. So I got my business cards and everything. And I'm also available on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You can sometimes just send me a message. And yes, we're good to go. And I would love, like when you come to South Bend, just let me know that you're coming from Valparaiso. Thank you so much.
Remember that the restaurant is melting with hospitality.
Yes.
Although when we were there, it was a little bit difficult to melt. When you say, Kevin? Was it a little chilly inside?
Yeah, we got it fixed. They brought in the gas.
Yes, right now it's up and running.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Glad to hear that. Okay.
And then they locked us out. Don't forget they locked us out. They saw us
Okay,
coming,
I wasn't
they
gonna
locked
go
us
there,
out.
but Kevin, you've opened up a
We were
can of
trying
worms.
to treat you as a private event.
When we arrived, we had one board member who was already inside, and her husband came to the door to try to open us up, and the door was locked, and he specifically was motioning like, hey, they're here, and I saw them kind of walk away as if we weren't there, so welcoming.
Welcoming.
Yeah, we had to bang that door down. It was locked though, wasn't it? Okay, and then just, I know you'll have lots of questions over there about it, but what ingredients have you used that are unique, maybe indigenous to Africa or Malawi? Where do you get those ingredients? Where do you get your specialty items?
Okay, so pretty much like all the spices that are authentic all the way from Malawi and across Africa. But you know, like the meats and the rice, there's no way I can get it from Malawi. So I normally get my things from Chicago to South Bend. Yes. And tonight, like the fresh tomatoes is from the local farmers, which I strongly believe that's the way we can empower one another. So that's what I do.
Did you already ask yours? I got you. Okay. Anything else before we head over? Yes. Okay. Okay, Michael, here we go.
So I know you said that Malawi, the poverty rate is so high, and how is the poverty rate affecting the local transportation and how are people getting along? Because how are people getting around the city or areas? Because I know in a lot of Southeast Asian countries like Vietnam or the Philippines, where a lot of people, because they're so poor, they can't buy a really good car, and also the climate is really hot. So most of the people, they get around with motorcycles and scooters. Is that the case in Malawi as well?
Yes or no? Yes. We have that system. The communal system in Malawi, after the multi-party system kind of collapsed, because when the new government came, they did what they call the privatization. So government had no grip on the systems, right? So with the corruption that was high, they opened up, they took out the tag leads on imports and everything. So we have we had these Japanese and cars from Dubai being dumped in Malawi, which don't even work very well. So our streets are small. We have over congestion of cars, But because of that as well, it popped up another, because like you said, people are poor. So most people use what we call kabaza. Kabaza is the bike system. So we have people biking and just putting like a cart on the bike. So you can go from one place to the other, or you have a motorbike sometimes as well, but few people can afford a motorbike. So a lot of them just use the actual bicycle.
And a lot of walking.
Yeah, and a lot of walking. It's a lot of walking. We do a lot of walking there. Yeah.
We had talked about the military before, about how probably understaffed it was, and especially with equipment. So how is your military staff? Is it all volunteer?
No, we have a very small military that is well trained, that lives in barracks. Most of our military people live in what they call barracks. So they group them together in their own camps. Yeah, the only issue that is going to be there is like you can have these trained people, but you have no equipment at all.
But do people volunteer for the military?
No, the Malawian military is not born for bounty. They actually recruit. You're drafted into the military.
All right, I just heard the dinner bell. It's 8:30, and so who's ready to eat? Anybody?
Yes.
One person. Valerie, you and I are going to feast. Okay, thank you too. Okay, so as you know, what we're going to do is move the chairs kind of off to the side, bring the tables out. We welcome you to stay for a while and socialize, look at the beautiful display over there, ask questions, get pictures, and please give our guests, Mahara and Kate, a warm remember to contact me if you're interested in the board position, in a volunteer position, or if you know another speaker. Thank you so much for coming and enjoy social time.